Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another big live video update tonight. So first and foremost, apologies for no video on Thursday night. My computer actually crashed right when I was in the middle of typing up all my notes. Thankfully, it was just a video card issue, so it was all sorted out pretty quickly. But this is a very timely reminder for everybody out there. Make sure you back up your computers, back up your phones, just in case something does happen. You don't want to lose all of your data. So do keep that in mind. All right, we've got obviously a mixed bag of articles to cover tonight, plus a few things that have come through in the last few days that I've also added in. There's a range of different topics, so let's get straight into it. First up is actually one of the articles that we briefly mentioned on Tuesday night's radio show regarding Dan Andrews, who is now just plain and simply, excuse the French, but just taking the piss out of all Victorians. I mean, this is how insane it is. Now, if you missed that radio show, of course, the podcast has been uploaded for all podcast members to access, along with the full transcript of the show and everything as well. Now, the article that we briefly mentioned, okay, get this, is about Dan Andrews taking on the position of mental health specifically for youth. Yes, you heard that correctly. As insane as it sounds, it is sadly very true. So this is the article. This is what he's doing now. Former Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews takes on new gig as head of mental health organisation. Daniel Andrews has taken on a new role after spending nearly 10 years as Victorian Premier. Andrews will become chairman of Origin, one of the largest mental health research organisations in Australia. Origin also claims to be the largest clinical research organisation focused on youth mental health in the world. Andrews will take on the new job for a 3-year term. What could possibly go wrong? I'm incredibly proud to take on this leadership role to help Origin and its world-leading experts at this pivotal time for youth mental health in Australia and globally, Andrews said. You wonder why it's such a pivotal time in history for youth mental health, mate? Because of you. Okay? Origin is one of Australia's most important organisations with a bold vision for all young people to enjoy the very best mental health as they grow into adulthood. Where was that focus during COVID? I ask you. Andrews advocated for mental health during his time as Premier, setting up a royal commission into Victoria's mental health system, which achieved absolutely nothing. He also helped secure funding for Origin's medical facilities in Parkville. I mean, this is just nuts. I mean, this is the guy who single-handedly caused more mental health problems than any other person in this country, and now he's taking on that position. I mean, as I said before, surely he's just taking the piss now and just seeing how far he can really push things before people finally start to stand up and speak out against this insanity. Now, thankfully, some people are, and in fact, the ex-treasurer is actually calling out Daniel Andrews' complete incompetence, as this article shows. So this is good to see people finally speaking out. Peter Costello gave Victoria's former Premier Daniel Andrews a spray at Alliance for Responsible Citizenship. Victorian Premier Andrews has been accused of presiding over an incompetent government that is the worst in Australia. Mr Costello, the Federal Treasurer under Liberal Prime Minister John Howard, gave a crowd of 700 people at the Alliance for Responsible Citizenship conference in Sydney on Tuesday his assessment of Mr Andrews' Labor government during COVID-19. He said the Andrews government had failed every test of prudent budget management. Every test. Not most of them, not the majority of them, every test. And that Daniel Andrews had led the most incompetent government in the nation. The former Treasurer told the crowd Mr Andrews' government was moronic for the restrictions his government placed on Victorians during the pandemic. He said the Andrews government had closed playgrounds in Melbourne and chained swings and slides to stop children from using them during COVID. Children weren't dying from COVID, and they wouldn't die by using swings or slides, he said. You think? Where was that common sense a few years ago? This moronic government even decided to institute a curfew. You're not going to catch COVID driving alone in your car after 9 p.m. Mr. Costello said it was scary and concerning how freely people gave up their rights during the pandemic. Yes, 1,000%. Our leaders got a taste for control, he said. We saw that liberties could be taken away very easily. Now, this is the ex-treasurer spelling this out in the mainstream media, okay? So please take note. They got that taste of how easily they could control people, and they loved it, and that's what they're pushing for. Now, despite the fact that you've got someone like the Treasurer coming out and calling Daniel Andrews out on his insane, moronic government, they still want to build a statue in honour of this muppet. I mean, seriously. Okay, they should be hanging him from a yardarm. Okay? Hopefully someone will hold him to account. And on that point, this is a really important reminder. If you haven't yet done so, please make sure you go and do a search for the Bike Boy scandal. Okay, the Bike Boy scandal. They've got a social media presence everywhere on Facebook and Instagram and X, and just see what the Mulemans are doing to try and finally hold Dan Andrews to account. And of course, do be sure to offer them your support as well. But wait, there's more. Of course there is. It's Daniel Andrews. Okay, it gets even worse because the media is now reporting on the fact that people in Glasgow, okay, are so thankful for the complete incompetence of the Andrews government, whereby they created essentially a free Commonwealth Games, okay, for Glasgow. They're now actually walking around, okay, with cardboard cutouts of Dan Andrews and celebrating him. I mean, here's the photo right there. This is how insane it's now become. Okay, how on earth this idiot was voted back in is beyond me. But please, everybody needs to be aware of this. The article's entitled, "Scots Thrilled with Daniel Andrews Over Decision Which Forced Victorian Taxpayers to Pay for Glasgow Games." Residents of Scotland's largest city have thanked Daniel Andrews after the former Labour Premier forced Victorian taxpayers to fund the 2026 Glasgow Commonwealth Games. Scotland's largest city is set to host a slimmed-down version of the international sporting event in 2026 after the former Labour leader abruptly abandoned plans to bring the game to regional Victoria. The decision has led to more than $200 million of taxpayer funds funneled to Scotland. Right here, we've got a cost of living, crisis. We've got a housing crisis. And what are we doing to fix that? We're throwing away $200 million because of Andrews' complete incompetence. And Glasgow residents are thrilled at how things have turned out. I mean, who wouldn't be thrilled with $200 million for free? I would be. Melbourne's Herald Sun went to Scotland with a life-size cutout of the former Labour Premier, complete with a kilt and suitcase full of money, asking passers-by what they thought of former Victorian Premier. People of Glasgow are thrilled with former Premier Daniel Andrews, with locals thanking Victorian payers for funding the city's Commonwealth Games. Victoria's Auditor-General slammed the Andrews government's decision in March, with the report revealing it cost taxpayers $589 million, nearly $600 million. That's on top of how much, Andrew's complete incompetence over COVID cost people. I mean, that's not even mentioned there. This included $380 million in settlement payments to several organisations, including the UK-based Commonwealth Games Federation and Commonwealth Games Australia. Melbourne radio host Tom Elliott said the Victorian government had come up with the plan to host the 2026 Commonwealth Games across multiple regional centres as a vote-winning strategy ahead of the 2022 election. The more I think about it, the more the decision to host the Games immediately after the pandemic was simply done to A, take people's minds off the pandemic, and B, to help the state government win the 2022 election, Elliott said on Wednesday. It is no doubt that they needed to win lots of seats in regional Victoria. Hence, they came up with this stupid idea to have a regional Commonwealth Games. I don't believe the state government ever intended to host the Commonwealth Games. They were happy to waste hundreds of millions of dollars of our money simply to buy votes in regional Victoria, and we fell for it. Okay, and that, people, is the key. That is the reality. Okay, that closing line. The people of Victoria fell for Labor's insanity, hook, line and sinker. Okay, and now we're all paying for their collective stupidity. Now, I certainly hope that this is remembered whenever the next elections are here in Victoria. At least Queensland woke up this weekend and they put their money where their mouth is and they kicked the Labor Muppets out of office. Now, speaking of insanity, the media are back at it again with new reports of Mpox in Victoria, trying to keep everybody living in fear. If you missed that report, here it is. I'll just go through some of the key points that they're spouting now. Increase in Mpox cases prompts warning from Victorian officials. Health authorities have issued a warning in response to a concerning increase in the number of Mpox cases recorded in Victoria. Since April, about 330 cases have been reported, with 27 people requiring hospitalisation. The Department of Health warned the outbreak was now much larger than the 2022 outbreak. Well, how many people did that affect? There's no actual details here, of course, but they want you just living in fear, as always. The department said that while Mpox has mostly impacted gay, bisexual and other men who have had sex with men, anyone could be affected. There have now been several cases in women across the state, and heterosexual transmission has been reported. So basically, don't have sex with anybody at all because, you might get this, deadly disease. All sexually active people with compatible symptoms should be tested regardless of sexual orientation, vaccination status or travel history, the department have said. So even if you've had a vaccine for it, you should still get tested because that's how effective the vaccines are. Remain aware of the possibility of Mpox infection among other groups. The Mpox vaccine, here we go, is free for those eligible and is available through more than 250 providers across Victoria. Isn't that good to know? It's not going to help you, mind you, because even if you've had it, you should still get tested, but, go and get it anyway, because, it's free. Why not? Doctors can also advise if you need booster shots to catch up on vaccines that may have been missed. Oh, very important. I mean, come on. I certainly hope that nobody watching this video is falling for this vaccine insanity again, especially now that the truth about the last lot of jabs is finally starting to come out. But look, it's not just Mpox that they're pushing. They're still on this bird flu bandwagon as well. Okay? If you missed that article, this is what the media is also pushing. And again, when you read it, it doesn't quite add up. Australia on high alert. $95 million boost to combat deadly bird flu strain threatening wildlife. As the world grapples with various health challenges, Australia is now facing a new potential threat that could have serious implications for both its unique wildlife and public health. Aussies are on high alert. Are they? Are they really? How many Aussies are on high alert, really? Yeah, but they love to report this rubbish. As a concerning new strain of bird flu threatens to reach its shores. Authorities are stepping up measures to protect the public and poultry industries, with experts warning of potential widespread impact. This development has prompted urgent action and heightened vigilance across the nation. The H5N1 strain of avian influenza, a deadly bird flu variant, is on the horizon, and the Australian government is taking significant steps to prepare for its possible arrival. I mean, it sounds like a plot for a movie or something, doesn't it? It's so scary. Ooh. The Albanese government has announced a substantial investment of $95 million to bolster the nation's defences against this formidable virus. What are they doing? Putting up chicken wire around the country so it doesn't get through? Or what exactly are they doing? The move comes as a response to the growing concerns about the impact of H5N1, which has already wreaked havoc on bird and mammal populations in other parts of the world. Again, has it really? Or did humans wreak havoc on those bird and mammal populations out of concern for this, supposed deadly virus? But it was actually the humans that culled all those birds, as we've reported on previously. Unlike the strain that caused egg shortages in Australian supermarkets earlier this year, H5N1 is known for causing respiratory illness, a drop in egg production, and sudden deaths among wildlife. Really, I haven't seen any chickens just wandering around and just keeling over, but I'm sure it must be out there because the media tells us so. The virus's potency and the speed at which it can decimate animal populations make it a force to be reckoned with. I mean, you just got to love the words, don't you? Chief Medical Officer Paul Kelly has issued a stark warning, emphasising that it's not a question of if, but when the virus will reach Australian shores. And we know Professor Paul Kelly's, solid track history with viruses and the like over the past 3 or 4 years, don't we? Exactly. Australia remains the only continent yet to report the presence of H5N1, but with global travel and migration patterns, the risk of introduction is ever present. Hang on a minute, didn't they just say a few paragraphs back that the H5N1 was known for the drop in egg productivity in Australian supermarkets, but now they're saying, but it hasn't hit our shores yet. Which is it? They can't lie straight in bed, these people. James Trezise, Director of Biodiversity Council, has highlighted the immediate threat to birds and mammals, but also pointed out the genuine risk to people. Of course, here's the kicker. Trezise emphasised that calling this bird flu strain an extinction-level threat for several Australian wildlife species is no overstatement. As Australia prepares for the potential arrival of a deadly bird flu strain, the impact on the nation's poultry industry is becoming a significant concern. Now, not that I ever watch it, but I do believe there's this program on TV, something to do with border control and customs, and they go through and they check people's suitcases and they check packages that get sent here and all the rest. If we've got such tight border controls, why should we be the slightest bit interested or concerned or worried about bird flu coming in? Because surely they've already got all these measures in place to protect us. We're an island after all, people. Come on. With the virus already affecting numerous bird and mammal species, but it's not here yet, but it's already affecting. I mean, again, do you see the rubbish that they spout? Industry experts warn that an outbreak could have devastating consequences for poultry farmers. Now, once again, the key is always the message that they're pushing at the end of the article. Okay, because this is what it's all about. I mean, apart from this, fear, and more fear language, okay, just obviously don't buy into that. But it's that closing line, okay, that attack on the poultry farmers. It's an attack on our food supply, okay? Because in exactly the same way as the people who control the money supply control the population, so too do the people who control the food supply. Now, right now, of course, that control is still in the hands of our farmers, but our governments are trying everything within their power to destroy our farmers and, of course, control that food supply so that the population is 100% dependent on them. Again, this is all part of this overall agenda, Agenda 2030. If you don't know what it is, please go and look it up. Okay, and that is what people should be on the lookout for, not some invisible disease, okay, because that makes no sense. Now, of course, as I've discussed on a number of these recent video updates, we know that one of the primary tools that the governments use for control is, of course, through fines and creating new ways to steal people's hard-earned money. Well, I'm about to go through some of their latest attempts, and their first is actually a story about a motorist who copped a clearly unjust red light fine in Melbourne. So this is the article if you want to go and have a look at it for yourselves. And it says, young Aussie driver cops $500 fine for common traffic light mistake. The Drivers Traffic Act has left Aussies divided about whether or not she should cop the fine and 3 demerit points off her driver's licence. A young Australian driver erupted after she copped a hefty fine for a traffic offence she claims she didn't commit, but not everyone agreed with her. Charlie, 18, says she received a $500 fine and 3 demerit points off her driver's licence after turning right in her Volvo at a traffic light on Fitzroy Street in Melbourne last month. While it's alleged she ran a red light, Charlie is adamant that the light was green when she followed several cars turning during the incident last month. I'm turning right, it's a green light, it's safe to go, she said in a video posted online. They want me to pay $500 and lose 3 demerit points. I'm a Year 12 student and I'm only 18. One, I don't have the money for that and I can't lose demerit points, and I didn't do anything wrong. Charlie said she appealed the fine, but her request was denied, but she's since told Yahoo News Australia that she's considering taking the matter to court. And I certainly hope that she does. Okay, because I've had a look at the article, and the photo that they actually provided in the article, and of course it's only small, you can't really see the detail, but from what I've saw, it is definitely not clear that she's actually done anything wrong. Therefore, there is at least an element of doubt, and as I've explained on these videos before, as we explain in our live events, that is all you actually need to establish to have a matter dismissed. Now, the police and the magistrates love to tell you that you'll need an expert witness and you'll need to prove that you didn't do something wrong. No, that is not the way the law works. The law works in line with the Monday versus Gill case, which I've mentioned many, many times before, okay, that in any criminal case, the burden of proof is on the prosecution to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. All you're required to do in court is ascertain or create an element of doubt. If there is an element of doubt, then according to the law, the matter must be dismissed. So please keep that in mind and don't buy into this rubbish that the police will try and tell you or the magistrates will try and tell you that you have to prove you're innocent. Absolutely not. The burden of proof in any criminal matter is on the prosecution to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The minute you raise any element of reasonable doubt, it must be dismissed. And just given the comments that you can read in that article alone and all the different opinions there, there is clearly very reasonable and justified doubt, and therefore the matter should be either withdrawn or dismissed. Now, there was another similar case in New South Wales, which again suffers exactly the same problems. Now, this is the article, and you can see the actual photo there, which I'll come back to in a moment. And it says, driver's $544 fine for risky red light act divides Aussies. Revenue New South Wales said the car is clearly seen entering the intersection after the light turned red, but not everyone agrees. A driver's hefty $544 fine for entering an intersection after the light turned red has sparked a fierce debate among Aussies. The anonymous motorist's supposed error was recently captured on a roadside camera in Sydney CBD. The photographic evidence reportedly alleges the driver was turning right and has therefore gone through a red light. The driver argued online on Friday they did nothing wrong and were simply waiting for the cars ahead to move forward so they could go straight through the green light. However, the city has ordered them to cough up the dough, claiming the motorist was trying to turn right despite an obvious red arrow. In response to a request for to review the fine, Revenue New South Wales said while it acknowledged the driver's comments, it is unable to cancel the fee because the car is clearly seen entering the intersection after the light turned red. Now, I'm going to hold this up and hopefully you can see something that I can't. Yes, there's a green light going straight ahead. Yes, there's a red light for the turn arrow, but if anyone can show me anywhere here that I can't see that this lane is clearly marked as a right turn only lane, then that lane is clearly allowed to go straight through a green light. And in fact, you can clearly see a sign up the top there that says there's no right turn allowed there during certain times. So therefore, that lane must also be a lane that can either go straight ahead or turn right. The vehicle is not in any way, shape or form seen turning the corner. So how on earth did they claim that this vehicle entered the intersection contrary to the red light? It doesn't say this is a turn-only lane. The light is green to go ahead. They're clearly going ahead. So what's the claim? But this is the problem. People will see that and go, oh, they get the fine and it makes this claim and, oh, you know, you've got to pay this fine. And they go, oh, okay, well, there's a photo and it's got, you know, fines New South Wales or Revenue New South Wales on it or whatever. And so they freak out and they just pay up. Okay? Please check these photos, check these fines, okay? You don't need to be paying this stuff, okay? There is very, very clearly more than reasonable doubt there because there's no arrows, There's nothing to suggest that. Okay, now this, of course, is a perfect time to remind everybody about that Aussie speeding fines book, which you can use to challenge these exact types of fines. Now, the majority of time, you can just use that very simple to follow 3-step process. Okay, it's just cut and paste. If you can cut and paste a Word document, you can use those letters. They're all pre-written. They're already provided for you. Okay, now on the odd occasion, maybe they might argue against those letters, in which case you go to court. And again, that's fine. That's perfect. It's not this big scary thing that people think it is. You turn up to court, you raise these exact types of arguments that I've shown you, you establish that reasonable doubt, you not only win your case and have it dismissed, but then you hit them with costs for wasting your time and dragging you into a court when there clearly wasn't sufficient evidence. And the more people that do this, the more people that go to court and hit them with costs, the quicker they'll get the message that they're going to have to stop pursuing these ridiculous fines because they're losing money every time they did. Okay, now I've gone through just a couple of clear case examples here from mainstream media articles. Okay, these sort of things come up every single day. I read out testimonials from members, on most of these video updates that show that these processes work. So please, if you don't yet have that book, you'll find a link in the comment section or in the description to the video title. Please make sure you grab that and use those processes. All right, and as further proof of just how completely unjust and unlawful the governments that keep issuing these fines are, have a listen to the following story regarding the investigation into the fees for council parking meters, which again, the mainstream media are now freely admitting may in fact be completely unlawful. Okay? Again, have a look at this article. Very, very important, because if it's not in your particular area right now, it could very well be coming soon. This one's entitled, Concerns New South Wales Council's Parking Services Fees via third-party apps could be in breach of state government rules. An urgent review has been launched amid concerns the parking meter systems charging many drivers across New South Wales could breach state government rules. An increasing number of councils are now using third-party apps to collect parking fees from their meters, which incur service fees for the customer. Motorists use their phone to scan a QR code on a parking meter on the street, which takes them to an app or website of a third-party provider. They enter their registration number and amount of time they would like to park. But some of these parking app providers charge customers up to 10% or more in service fees. What service are they providing exactly? Which a legal expert says could be in breach of New South Wales transport regulations. Okay, it's also, they're forcing a service on you that you don't want. It's contrary to the Competition Consumer Act 2010, which again, we've been speaking about to everybody in our live events. This year, it was one of the brand new presentations. One Sydney council has now launched a review into the matter. Crow's Nest resident Simon Berry was shocked when he went to pay for parking in the North Sydney Council area. He wanted an hour of parking at a rate of $6.90, but the total was $7.47. The parking app takes the payment but adds on a service fee that goes to the company, which only becomes apparent when the customer is about to pay. PayStation, which operates in the North Sydney Council area, charges an 8.25% service fee. Easy Park, used in the City of Newcastle, Parramatta City Council and Tamworth Regional Council, charges 11.5% service charge despite offering no service whatsoever or forcing an unwanted service on you. Ballina Shire Council uses the Easy Pay app for beach access permits, and its website acknowledges those purchases attract the surcharge. But again, doesn't actually spell out what it is until it's too late. Okay, so as I've said in a recent video update, if they don't provide you with a way to pay with cash in actual coins, then don't pay for your parking. Leave a note on your dash, pre-print one up and keep it in your car at all times. Okay, leave a note on the dashboard that says you're happy to pay with coins, leave some coins scattered there to show, but there was no facility to do so. And if they issue you a fine, then you can very easily challenge it on these grounds alone. Remember, there is absolutely nothing nothing in the Bills of Exchange Act that compels a person to pay by apps or via credit cards. They are not legal tender. Okay, cancels cannot force you to use those payment methods, period. Please keep that in mind. All right, and the final article that I want to cover tonight follows on from some of the recent comments that I've made about the demise of EVs, electric vehicles, here in Australia. This particular article actually predicts an absolute bloodbath. So if you or anyone you know is considering buying an EV, please make sure you look up this article. Very, very important. It is entitled EV Chinese Cars 2024, Mitsubishi Boss Predicts Australia Bloodbath. An Australian motoring boss has exposed the grim future of Chinese EV bloodbath dumping ground if one critical step doesn't happen. Mitsubishi Motors Australia Chief Executive Sean Westcott has predicted a turbulent period for the Australian automotive market, warning of a bloodbath as an influx of new vehicles, particularly from China, reaches showrooms. More than a dozen new brands, including BYD, Chery and Zeekr, have set their sights on Australia as they expand beyond China. Our country doesn't have an industry to protect, because of course they destroyed it. Everyone thinks this is the place to be. We don't have any tariffs. We don't have any barriers, he said. Chinese brands attempting to expand overseas have hit roadblocks in Europe and the United States, where legislators are attempting to introduce tariffs to penalise foreign EVs and protect local markets. But Australia's open market structure also makes it an attractive dumping ground for excess production. There's going to be a plethora of new brands who have economic troubles where they have excess capacity. They'll look for places to dump their cars, he said. However, Westcott believes that this surge in vehicles will lead to a market correction. We're going to go into a period of excess supply and not everybody will survive that, and there's going to be a bit of a bloodbath, he said. The market correction is already underway as automakers deal with oversupply and decreasing prices. So this is already happening right now. So those who've already bought EVs, they are, if they're not already bleeding, they certainly will be soon as their vehicles continue to just plummet in price. And for those who might be thinking, we're getting a bargain because, we're diving in now and the prices are lower, they're only going to be setting themselves up for pain as those prices just keep dropping. So this is yet another reason, in addition to all of the other reasons that I've covered on recent videos, to simply stay away from electric vehicles, certainly for now. All right, so finally, as I always do on these videos, I'm going to finish up with some of the latest memes to get people thinking. Now, I know there's a big race on up in Queensland on the Gold Coast, so someone sent this through, so I thought, well, this is probably a timely reminder, okay, again, okay. So, you're saying that tobacco products on race cars will make me want to smoke, but gay and drag queen storybooks won't influence my life choices. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? Doesn't quite add up. You can't have it both ways. Either everything's an influence or nothing's an influence. You can't pick and choose to suit your own little minorities. Yes, this one makes a lot of sense, and yet so many people just don't get it. It's really, really basic. Okay? A country run by banks will always be in debt. Hello? Healthcare run by Big Pharma will never cure disease. Again, hello? A state run by war will never know peace. And a nation run by the media will never know the truth. Now, thankfully, due to social media, there are channels like this where people are able to learn the truth a little bit more, as long as they turn off the mainstream media. Now, we've spoken a little bit about these speeding fines in recent videos, and I thought this was an absolute classic. As it says there, not all heroes wear capes. So, fantastic effort to this bloke. Brave man helps to shield speed camera from blazing hot sun. Not all heroes wear capes. And the final one I'm going to share with you is just a little bit of a laugh. It came across my desk. I said, yep, I can definitely relate to that. And I'm sure there's many of you who are watching this video that probably feel this way at times a little bit as well. So as it says, my ducks are absolutely not in a row. I don't even know where some of them are, and I'm quite certain one of them is actually a pigeon. So something to finish off on a lighter note tonight. So I am going to leave things there. As always, I do urge you to make use of all the various resources that are available to you to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. We really need people taking action this year more than ever before. These videos, of course, are completely free to watch. You'll find them on our BitChute channel, our YouTube channel, and on the videos tab on our Facebook page. Oh, pardon me. There's plenty of completely free information, statistics, lots and lots of links, articles on our website and, of course, the other websites that we recommend. Our radio shows every second Tuesday. We are having a double break due to the Cup Week break or the Cup Day holiday the following Tuesday in Melbourne. So just remember, no live show this coming Tuesday, no live show the following Tuesday, but we will be back the Tuesday after that, which I think is the 12th or so of November, and that's going to be our huge 400th birthday show. So do make sure you tune in for that. If you've missed any of those live radio shows, you can join up as a podcast member for less than $5 a week. So it's very, very affordable for everyone to get access to all that wonderful information. Again, if you want to go above and beyond that, we do recommend, especially for newbies and beginners, please make sure you grab that Know Your Rights book, the essential step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. Of course, don't forget the Aussie Speeding Fines book for challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. The guys have been around for 17 years now, so you know their information works. And of course, we do know a lot of people are struggling financially right now, so please stop throwing good money after bad at these unsecured loans. That's things like your credit cards and your personal loans. They can be very easily written off or discharged with their 4-step process. You'll find links in the description. You can get these individually. You can get them all as part of the combo pack. We do, of course, have our tote bag, which we include no extra charge, a little freebie, a little bonus. And don't forget as well, all of our live events have concluded for this year. So if you do want to get access to that information, you do need to grab a copy of our home study course. It is a complete recording of one of our 2.5-day events. There's 3 custom-made workbooks. There's 17 DVDs. There's spaces to write notes next to every single slide from every single presentation. Pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home. It is a brilliant resource that you'll come back to again and again and again, year after year, as you confront these various challenges. So do grab that. Again, you'll find a link in the description. So I'm going to leave things there. Again, no radio show this Tuesday night. We will be back on a Thursday night with the next live video update. Until then, have a fantastic week, everyone, and